The games of the 29 Olympiad in 2008 are awarded to the city of Beijing.
On July 13, 2001, then IOC Chairman Juan Antonio Samaranch declared Beijing the winner of a competition to host the 2008 Summer Olympics. Beijing's victory came at the disappointment of competing finalists Toronto, Paris, Istanbul, and Osaka. The moment was an important one for Beijing, for the Chinese people, and for China, which had never hosted an Olympics since the modern games began in Athens in 1896. The moment marked the beginning of the fulfillment of China's dream to host the Olympics, a dream that had been smoldering in the hearts of sports enthusiasts and nationalists since the early years of the 20th century, when a Chinese man, Zu-Liang Sung, was among the first to plant the seeds for China's participation in the Olympic movement. Today, Zu-Liang's dreams are best remembered by his grandnephew, Philip Jiang, one of the forces behind the Shanghai Sports Museum and its collection of Olympic mementos, a man whose passion for sports is equaled by the knowledge and pride he has for his family's involvement in the history of the Games.
Zu-Liang Sung was my granduncle. He was my grandmother's younger brother. When he was in school, he is an all-round athlete in school teams. When he was graduating, he was a very important sports educator in Shanghai. He was the vice president and the president of the St. John's University. During that time, the sports in China is not very well developed. In 1924, he and Wang Zhengting and Zhang Boling, these two people are very important people also in China's sports history. They organized the China National Amateur Athletes Federation. From then, they took over the rights to organize the national and international sports games in China. They also made a lot of rules for the various sports games. They published a lot of rules to introduce the sports for Chinese people. In 1932, he let the Liu Changchun take part in the Olympic game in Los Angeles. This is the first time China take part in the Olympic Games because his experience related to the sports, so made him the first manager of the Chinese team, both in 1932, the Olympic Games in Los Angeles, and also the 1936 in Berlin. So I think my granduncle was a very important person in China's sports development.
Long before organized sports were reality in China, long before there was a Chinese Olympic team, Zu-Liang had 4 dreams for his country, 4 dreams to which he devoted his life. For China to attend the Olympics, for China to send a team to the Olympics, for China to win a gold medal at the Olympics, and finally, for China to host the Olympics.
我就讲呢，还是有4个这个理想。事实上，这个4个梦想呢，还是中国人的梦想。也就是讲，第一个呢，啥辰光中国人能够参加这个奥林匹克运动会，啥辰光呢，中国人能够组队参加奥林匹克运动会。那么这个2个梦想呢，我就讲呢，伊自家呢，侪实现了，侪已经亲眼看见。那么之后呢，事隔介许多辰光呢，一直到1984年，这个第3个梦想呢，刚刚得以实现。那么搿个一次呢，巧了勿得了。我的爸爸，伊呢正好是作为一个代表队的成员，而且是一个媒体的成员，作为新闻记者报，亲眼呢目睹了这个第3个梦想的实现。那么所以从阿拉个屋里向来讲呢，就是讲已经有2代人呢看见了3个这个梦想的实现。那么挨下来个第4梦想呢，大家等了介久，对伐？一直到今年2008年。那么从我来讲，我从小呢就一直去听搿眼物事。我只晓得过去的事体已经发生，但是我是没眼睛看见过。一直到这个1984年，这个辰光呢，我也亲眼看到了中国人第一次拿金牌的场面。这个勿是一块金牌的事体，搿是证明了中国的体育运动水平呢达到了一个新的高点。从80年代开始，中国的体育水平突飞猛进，搿个是跟一个整个国力的强壮是有关系。 那么2008年呢，中国人自家举办奥林匹克。作为我来讲呢，我跟阿拉球工隔脱两代了。我是相当希望能够拿过去的搿眼事体，因为屋里向搿能介个介许多人对奥运会有搿能介一个哪能讲法热情啊，passion。所以呢，当有交关过去的资料，有关奥运会中国人啥辰光参加奥运会早期的搿些资料呢，屋里向事实浪向呢侪有的。所以我呢就相当开心兴奋的呢，就去拿搿眼物事呢侪收集起来。那么辣迭个2008年个5月份呢，北京迭个奥林匹克有个巡回展辣上海，正好迭个辰光呢，我是帮助迭个上海体育博物馆呢筹建工作，参加筹建工作。葛末下去就一道参加了搿次奥林匹克展览会个准备工作。所以我拿出了大量个物事呢，所以从我来讲呢，我也用自家个实际个行动呢，就是讲我代表屋里向一代一代个人啊，做到我为止啦，也已经参与了迭桩事体。所以讲，事实浪向奥运个火炬，屋里向呢搿把火呢，从1932年开始烧到现在没停过。从我舅公传拨我爸爸，我爸爸又传到我手里。阿拉每一代个人，侪为迭个4个 dream 呢做出过一定个贡献。
In 1919, Zu-Liang Sung graduated from the School of Arts and Science at St. John's University and was quickly given a position as the school's director of physical education. Assigned to teach physiology and hygiene, he actually gave most of his time to coaching tennis, basketball, track and field, and soccer, which was by far the most popular sport in the country at the time. The following year, 1920, saw Zu-Liang go to the United States to Oberlin College, where he would become part of a group of 32 Chinese students studying physical education, each returning to China to become leaders in their particular specialty. Through his studies and his hard work, Zu-Liang became known locally as one of the forefathers of physical education in China.
迭个4个 dream 呢，有一个当初迭个哪能会得有迭个事，有一个特殊个情况。因为中国呢，运动啊起步相当，尤其是迭个竞技体育，起步相当晚。啊，当搿些，譬如讲我舅公，伊带迭个第一次奥林匹克运动会出去辰光，伊已经第3次去美国了。迭个之前伊去过2次美国，伊拉侪讲也看见过西方搿眼竞技活动。但是中国有交关人呢，是当初迭个社会关系，交关比赛勿晓得搿眼物事，所以中国运动发展呢是相当迟个啦，晚个，就是讲面也勿是介广，集中了学堂啊、外国人啊，还有搿眼教会通过搿眼因素呢，就是讲大众呢是没办法就涉及到搿个物事。
奥运加油！
奥运加油！
北京加油
Go China！
中国加油！
加油！
The 1920s were good years for Zu-Liang, who returned from the United States with a new wife who he married on the same day as his graduation ceremony at Oberlin College. Coming back to Shanghai to St. John's University, the young couple took up residence on campus, where they lived a life very much centered around sports.
During that time, every university has very good facilities for the sports. For example, the Shanghai University, they have the football ground, can hold for the track field, and also have the basketball, tennis court, and a swimming pool. During that time, I think that most of the teams were training in the university.
Zu-Liang Sung's house on the campus would soon become the center of activities geared towards the development of amateur sports in China, with Zu-Liang himself at the center of a group of educators inspired by the positive effects of sport on the body and the mind.
In the campus, there is a very big house where my granduncle would live there. In there, he did a lot of jobs besides of the St. John's University, the job he do, and also some social activities will happen in their big house. And when the federation was founded, they ran the small office in the St. Paul building, but that office is really very small. It's only used for the contact with outside world. But most of the meetings, they will use their house as an office to do many of jobs there. Sometimes, for example, Wang Zhengting and Zhang Boring, both of them come to his house to discuss the possibility to establish this federation. They got meetings there. And sometimes, even in the campus, there are many staff got some problems. They went there to hold meetings to help them to solve the problems. Many things happened in their house as an office, I think.
In 1924, Zu-Liang was chosen to become the honorary secretary of the newly established Chinese National Amateur Athletic Federation, the CNAAF. Two of the federation's sponsors, the Honorable Chen Ting-Wang, elected China's first IOC member in 1922, and Dr. Chang Po-Ling, noted educator and founder of Nankai College, chose Zu-Liang due to his demonstrated commitment to sports.
中华全国体育协进会，它是中国最高的体育组织。它的成立对中国开展运动和世界上面体育这个接轨起到了组织和领导的这方面作用。协进会成立以后，参加了远东运动会，就举办了这个全国运动会，而且在乎国际上面奥运会的接轨，也派中国体育代表团在1932年第一次参加了奥运会，打开了中国奥运会的大门。
The CNAAF had 9 board members, all of whom would become involved in paving the way for China's participation in the 1932 Olympics in Los Angeles. Among the group was Lu Wei-cheng, president of China's famous martial arts organization, and Jin Hu-hui, later to organize the first international Chinese martial arts performance in Berlin at the 1936 Olympics.
协进会为什么要成立？主要是产生于那个时候我们和远东运动会的之间的关系。以前1915年在上海举办了第2届远东运动会和第5届的远东运动会，但是在那个时候，远东运动会的组织这一方面的机构全部都是由外国人控制的。所以说呢，在第6届远东运动会在日本举办以后，中国的大败而归。那个时候，许多的爱国知识分子、体育家，他们决定就是说要摆脱外国人的这种干扰，把体育的主权收给我们中国人。所以说，在1924年，我们全国体育协进会成立。
One of the first tasks for the newly established CNAAF was to select a team to participate in the 7th Far Eastern Championship Games, to be held in Manila in 1925. Zu-Liang Sung, in his role as honorary secretary of the federation, was appointed head of the delegation to this important event.
In 1925, my granduncle was appointed to lead the delegation to take part in the Manila, the Far Eastern Game. This is the first time after the Xie Jinghui was founded. They organized the whole team, select the athletics by the Xie Jinghui. So the first time the Xie Jinghui as the leader delegation to the Far Eastern Game. Doesn't matter, they didn't win a lot of medals, but they do bring back some very good medals and some very great food. For example, it's the mango. The first time they bring there, many Chinese people even don't know this what kind of the fruit is. So they are very happy.
After a relatively poor showing in Manila, Zu-Liang Sung was to face an even bigger challenge in preparing for 1927, when the 8th Far Eastern Championship Games were held in Shanghai. Given the new status of the Chinese National Amateur Athletics Federation, the job of coordinating the resources necessary to hold such an event was left to Zu-Liang, to Chen Ting-Wang, to Chang Po-Ling, and other members of the CNAAF.
In 1927, this is a real big challenge for the Xie Jinghui, because the Far Eastern Game, this is the 8th Far Eastern Game held in Shanghai. This is a very big game, and all the people in China and the federation, they think This is a very good opportunity for them to practice, because these pioneer people like my granduncle and Wang Shengtian and Zhang Bolin and some very important people, they always want to China can involve in the Olympic Games, so as early as possible. This time, because they organize this game really according to the Olympic rules. Any parts, ceremony, close ceremony, and something else. Even looking for the sponsor, the same way as the Olympic did. They arrange everything like the Olympic. For them, this is a small Olympic held in China. This is the first time. They really hope that China can involve the Olympic game as early as possible. So they spend a lot of time, a lot of energies to prepare this game.
Let's have a great Olympics.
Go Korea, go China.
Go China, go Belgium.
Go China, go! Yay! With growing recognition of the development of sports in Asia, the Far Eastern Games received a good deal of international attention, as well as the support of famous sports figures such as the American baseball player Babe Ruth.
During the game, many people spend a lot of money on that. Also, they use that advertising to gain some money. Also got some very small money from the government. But this is the first time the government is paying more attention to the game. So they gave the organization committee some of the money, but the money is not enough. So most of them is donated by the people. So also the foreigners, the very famous baseball player Babe Ruth, he donated his baseball. He signed his own name on the baseball. He sent the ball to the organization committee. Said if somebody play the ball in the ball game, the first one get the home run, this ball is belong to him. So that time, because Babe Ruth was very popular, so everybody knows him. Everybody paid attention to the game, say who can get this baseball. But finally, the ball is to the Japanese player. From my collection, my uncle left a very beautiful badge for this game. This badge not only indicates his collection, not it's a simple collection, but it also is a piece of history. On the badge, there's the name of Zu-Liang Sung, and also there's a very nice ribbon there that said the 8th Far Eastern Game, and also tell the date and the place. The game was very successful. So many people paid attention to that because the newspaper, they say a lot of stories about this, and almost 50,000 people go to the venue to see these games. So everybody got very excited because organized very good. Another interesting thing has happened there. They found some people sell the forced tickets to the audience. My granduncle told my grandmother, this is very funny. They used the tickets to get some money. This is why later, when he was to the Los Angeles Games, he collected many tickets. He wanted to bring these tickets to study how other people to print, what's the technology to print these tickets.
The 8th Far Eastern Games, organized by the CNAAF, would prove to be one of the most successful and best organized games ever held in Asia. The Chinese flavor of the event was evidenced by an important demonstration of Chinese martial arts performers in Shanghai's famous Jinhu Wei venue. This was one of the first performances ever organized to promote the Chinese sport to the outside world and marked the beginning of an international exchange through sports. With the successful conclusion of the Games, the members of the Chinese National Amateur Athletics Federation were rewarded for the results of this event, as well as the continued organization of sporting events in China. In 1931, formal recognition was accorded to the CNAAF by the International Olympic Committee.
因为中华全国体育协进会，它成立以后，和国际奥委会的地区性的这种组织 也就是说远东运动会。远东运动会是被国际奥委会第一个承认的属于东方的体育支部。那么中国在远东运动会的过程当中呢，起到了非常好的组织这方面的作用。上海举办了3次远东运动会，在这种情况之下，国际奥委会看到了中国体育协进会他做出了这方面的贡献，所以说在1931年他被国际奥委会所承认。王成廷博士他是中国第一个奥委会的国际委员，因为国际奥委会它是逆向制的，也就是说王正廷他是代表国际奥委会在中国的领导地位，所以由于王正廷和国际奥委会之间的关系，所以我们中国和国际奥委会紧密的联系在一起了。这样子呢，也就是说我们中国这个奥林匹克呢，也就是得到了国际奥委会的承认。我们在1932年由沈思良先生率刘长春到了美国洛杉矶，参加了第10届奥运会。
Also, after the success of the Far Eastern Game, my granduncle and Zhang Bolin, Wang Zhengting, these people, they do a lot of efforts on that. They really feel the happiness because they see what they did, the hard work. They got the results from there. So at the same time, I think in the 1931, the federation was recognized by the International Olympic Committee. That's a very big news for these pioneers, for all Chinese people. This means they can do what they want. They can do more things, not only in the Far Eastern area. They can do more things, to take part in enjoy the Olympic families.
Elated by the formal recognition of the IOC, Zu-Liang Sung began to believe in the serious possibility of his first dream coming true. Perhaps China could attend the Olympic Games, but with the next Olympics to be held in Los Angeles only 1 year away, much had to be done yet to turn dream into reality.